Mortal living can bring many disappointments and crushing blows to the spirit. A man may perceive his adversities to be a chastisement from God. He may believe he has somehow earned his misfortune. He ponders on what he could have done that deserves his adversity. What could he have done differently? How could he turn the tables in his favor? How might he escape this bitter reality? Yes, a man with this outlook is likely to become greatly discouraged, embittered, and hopeless. His perception is narrowed to fit his one-dimensional thinking. This thinking recruits the spirit poisons, and difficulties that were not that bad are now made worse. Another man who is experiencing life's brutal difficulties may look to his father and ask, "What is the meaning of this, Father?" This faithful man may perceive this to be a lesson in acquiring spiritual fruits. He knows that in his mortal state his difficulties are only landmarks upon his eternal path. His difficulties are stepping stones to higher learning. His broad vision allows him to go beyond the ego to an overall good that serves everyone. This man is observant in watching Father work within his problems. Using the stillness mind, he is open for Father's suggestions and solutions. Yes, man can perceive his difficulties without fear, without unknowing or even loneliness, for he knows Father has promised his assistance. In learning to remain steadfast in faith and persevere through difficulties, it is important that you perceive your mortal life as if you are standing at the beginning of all eternity. Because this is so. These mortal problems that plague you today are exercises in which you become strengthened by to advance spiritually. There is not an escape, you see, for there is not a way to advance without having these experiences which strengthen those spiritual muscles. In learning to carry on, one must be aware of how you perceive your difficulties. Is Father the cause of your difficulties? No. Is he available to show them to be valuable? Yes. Is he showing them to be with meaning? Yes. Are mortal difficulties a frown from heaven, or a lesson in spiritual advancement? Yes, it's all in how you perceive your difficulties. Each day you stand at the beginning of eternity, yes, and I say expand your vision and embrace the entire view. Do not cheat yourself by decreasing the view to ego size or allowing the spirit poisons to make worse what is already seemingly bad. In the midst of your difficulties, what can you do to repel the spirit poisons like self-pity, anger or depression from setting in? Certainly, worship and prayer are extremely helpful. Stillness time is a wonderful asset, of course. Yes, to be observant refrains you from acting out using those spirit poisons. Being watchful as if you were beside yourself, observing yourself, is a benefit that the Master used quite often. Jesus, when confronted with adversity, did not scream out in panic or make foolish and rash decisions, no. He stopped and consulted with Father. What is the meaning of this? How do I endure through this? It is difficult, I know, to be patient in these mortal living trials. But to act out upon feelings of anxiety only draws you closer to those spirit poisons. In your practicality is where you can be faithful, that Father will show you how to make good use of your adversities. He can show you how to take those feelings of despair or anxiety and put them to work in a spiritual way. Can you perceive your adversities as stepping stones to higher learning? Can you broaden your vision to perceive an overall picture of Father's plan? Can you be beside yourself and be observant? The mastering of these techniques will surely lead you to understand the true meaning of strength and endurance. The Master's difficulties on many occasions left him in great emotional distress. Of course, there was his divine stamina ever standing by, but on many occasions his human heart felt that destructive torture that every mortal must experience. Was he emotional at times? Yes, of course. Did this serve him? Yes, certainly. It was a release of his human will towards embracing his divine will. Your emotions are for a reason, so hide them not. Allow them to release and know that there is not a tear that you can cry that Father does not know the meaning. The spiritual lessons every soul needs to learn are not mandatory as to be all a part of the mortal world. No, but there is no escape from them either, in time. Yes, sooner or later we all must have our spiritual lessons, and I say these are best derived and realized from the mortal struggle. Even the Master experienced great emotional release in the laying down of his will to taking up the Father's. Be not afraid to discuss with one another these mortal trials. Be not afraid to allow your emotions to release the human will to aligning with the Father's. When you become comfortable with the divine will and how it affects you personally, then your trials are not so big, not so overwhelming. Yes, you can find strength from that source within, the source of all strength. You can master your difficulties, yes, and not be enslaved to them when you are in alignment with Father's will, and wholeheartedly willing to drink the cup of come what may. This week, I ask that you find a bit of time to write your thoughts on where you stand concerning this lesson. Are you like the first man, or more like the second? Is your vision broadened to see into eternity? Can you not react in a rash manner without first being observant and waiting upon the will of the Lord? The working out of your human thoughts may take some time alone with Father. To be emotional is not weakness, but a slow transformation of will, yes. That is all. I am ever growing each week in love for you. I am happy to visit with you during the week. In your observance of life's challenges, look for me, for I am happy to assist you with your daily questions. Until next week, Shalom.